Hey everybody, I'm glad to see you. This is me, lukemick, and this is my review for How to Train Your Dragon 2. So How to Train Your Dragon was a movie that I just very recently watched just so I could get ready for How to Train Your Dragon 2. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't really like How to Train Your Dragon. I honestly don't understand why it's gotten so much praise over the last 4 years. I mean, sure, the relationship between both Hiccup and Toothless is cute and everything, and it's fun to watch, but I mean, other than that, I really was not that intrigued by the setting and the characters. I didn't care for any of them. They were so insignificant to me, and I just didn't really care what happened to them. So How to Train Your Dragon 2, going into it with what I had experienced in How to Train Your Dragon, I wasn't expecting it to be that great. So let's find out what I thought right now. Now, How to Train Your Dragon 2 is basically just a continuation of How to Train Your Dragon. Hiccup is now kind of like a cartographer. He explores the world with Toothless, and all the Vikings have their own dragons to ride, and everything's fun in the castle. And then some bad stuff happens. He finds these people who like to trap dragons, and they're building a big dragon army, and we meet some new characters along the way. And honestly, I'm just going to say it right now, you guys, the scale and the scope of How to Train Your Dragon 2 is much larger than How to Train Your Dragon, and that's what I admired most about this movie. The thing with How to Train Your Dragon, the first one, was I just didn't think that anything was very important. I didn't care about that small, close-knit group of characters because they seemed so insignificant, like I said. But How to Train Your Dragon 2 introduces a lot of new characters to care about, a lot of new environments, and a lot of new settings that are just more interesting, and it just feels more real. Like in the first one, their whole city just didn't feel like anything. It felt like it was just out in the middle of the nowhere, and why should I care? But now this is kind of like almost, it's a big chunk of the globe, and there's a lot going on in this movie, and the animation is just stunning, obviously. I mean, DreamWorks has really been on par with animation lately, and this looks very good. All the action scenes are very entertaining and just dazzling to look at. I really do think that the action and the animation in this movie is just beautiful. There are a lot of new dragons to look at too. Very colorful, very neat, and just great looking dragons. Alright guys, all the voice acting is very strong, from Cate Blanchett to Gerard, Butler, and obviously Baruchel. Everybody in this movie does a fantastic job. And the 4 or 5 people like Rough Nut and Tough Nut, that group of characters, I was really annoyed with them in the first How to Train Your Dragon movie, but this one sort of expanded their personalities. And I just really cared for the characters a lot more in this movie because I feel like there was more at stake this time around. And obviously the relationship between Hiccup and Toothless is very much so expanded in this movie. Their relationship really grows a lot, and you get to know them as characters a lot more and how much they actually do care for each other. Something that I kind of don't like about this movie though, and you know, I noticed that it's kind of a trend, in my opinion, with a lot of sort of animated movies like this. Once you get to the end of the movie, you get maybe an hour and 20 minutes in, and there's maybe another 20 or 30 minutes left of the movie. You just kind of feel, alright, let's wrap this up a little bit. And the ending of this movie, I mean, you know, it's rewarding and everything, and everything is all good, but I mean, I feel like that once we get to the end of How to Train Your Dragon 2, it just kind of, they just kind of conclude it. Like, they do one battle scene, one final epic battle, and it's just kind of over, and you're like, okay, well, that was fun, I'm gonna leave the theater now. It's kind of hard to explain, but I just feel like with a lot of animated movies, the end just kind of comes up, and they just kind of slap something together and just throw it out there and say, there's the ending for you, I hope you're happy, good night. That's just kind of what I feel happens in this movie, along with a lot of other animated movies. That's just something that I feel. You guys can comment in the comment box if you want to elaborate a little bit, but that's just something that I've always kind of thought. So overall, How to Train Your Dragon 2 was a much better movie than How to Train Your Dragon, in my opinion. It was a major improvement over that first installment, and I just liked it a lot more. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. This is lukemick signing off. Please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.